Hey, what's up guys, Chillis here, welcome back to more Witch on the Holy Night. Last time we finished chapter 4, where Aoko got her confirmation. It's been confirmed for her that her enemy, well, more like the witness she has to take care of, is in fact SOUJYUROU. And now we're gonna be starting Night of the Witches 1, which is an interesting title, which makes me think it's not going to go as simply for Aoko as she believes. SOUJYUROU probably won't go quietly into the night as she probably hopes he will. But yeah, anyway, next episode. Chapter 5, Night of the Witches 1. SOUJYUROU returned to his apartment on foot as per routine, under a blanket of clouds in the night sky. The rusty stairs of his apartment building clanged with each step. Out of the corner of his eye, he could see the bicycles parked by the apartment building's outer wall. He debated the pros and cons of a bicycle, how much easier life would be versus the expense, the convenience versus the necessity. Right, I think in Japan you have to have a bike permit. I think, or I don't know if you have to have a permit, but you have to get it registered. You have to have your bike registered, I believe. Which is, so you have to buy the bike and then you have to pay for the registration, which is, again, really weird. But, you know, but in the end, decided one was not right for him just now. Yeah. Clutching the bag of apples under his arm, he took out the key to his residence. What? He tilted his head in confusion. More and more he found himself preoccupied with such random thoughts, when the real issue at hand was deciding what to do with the apples he had received. Eat them? Make an apple pie? I don't know. He placed the paper bag by the sink and switched on the lights. It was just after 10 in the evening. With the end of term exams just around the corner, he had come home an hour earlier than usual. Gotta study, huh? As he made back for the kitchen to pick one of the apples to snack on, he found an envelope stuffed in his mail slot. Ooh. Ooh. The envelope had no name, return address, or stamp. Inside was a single piece of paper that had only the sender's name and a short message. It read,
話があるので、今夜どこそこのここに来られたし。大事なようなので、来るまでずっと待っている。
That's not...
言うまでもなく、他言無用。
That's not ominous whatsoever. No, that sounds completely normal. Right, guys? Completely normal. Yeah. A concise set of orders, neatly written. It was signed Aoko Awazaki. She had been considerate enough to enclose a detailed map of the meeting place. Oh, that's nice. Puzzled, he cocked his head to the side, then headed out the door. Yeah. Afterward, upon the room's sole tenant leaving the premises, the envelope burst into flames and evaporated without a trace, as though it had never existed at all, or in the first place. Oh boy, covering her tracks, huh? When he mysteriously disappears. Oh boy. Or, well, would-be disappearance. By the late 80s, Japan's post-war economic boom had somewhat stabilized, and the city experienced a period of steady growth. The city's modernization marched on, and the Japan Railway's train station, a symbol of the new era, neared completion. In Misaki's neighboring town of Yashirogi, a new symbol of its own was about to be born. Uh-huh. And that would be... what? Yashirogi Bread and Kitsy Land. Oh. It was Misaki's worst investment. Years later, it would be dubbed the fool's gold of the economic bubble. A relic of a bygone age.
この町には夢とか遮奪さが足りない。
Uh-huh. 10 years ago, Yashirogi's renowned Tokitsu banking company ran factories all across the nation. Its proprietor was a middle-aged gentleman, then age 56, by the name of Yurihiko Tokitsu, known affectionately by most as Toppen, or Tappon, Tappen, took it upon himself to begin development on an estate on the outskirts of Yashirogi, and broke ground on a recreational wonderland that he hoped to be the pride of Misaki City. The long-awaited opening came in 1981. After 3 years of investment, this local amusement park, full of all kinds of hopes and dreams, began its short-lived tenure. It covered more than 85 square acres. Its magnificent merry-go-round dazzled all who passed through the park's gates. Its roller coaster twisted and turned about the edges of the park like a writhing Japanese dragon. Okay. I know I've mentioned it like 2 or 3 times now, but I knew about it coming in, cause yeah, I was told, because people like trying to tell me like, yo, Mihoyo is fantastic, you know, and it's like, oh, yeah, funny story actually. I don't know if I think I've mentioned it before on probably like Tsukihime, I think, but the announcement for the official like release translation was announced like the week after I spent a whole night getting the fan translated version set up. Like the fan translated version wasn't finished yet. I think it was like 80% finished, so it was like, you know, close, but like it's so funny. Like a week after I got it all set up, like figured out how to get it working, boom, the official was announced. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it was funny. It was random. Twist and turn about the edges of the park like a writhing Japanese dragon. Its Ferris wheel, packed beyond necessity with gimmicks, was said to have tested the limits of modern engineering. Okay.
完璧だ。遊園地に必要なものは全て積み込んだ。
Old Yurihiko looked upon his creation and smiled. Only boosting his confidence was the fact that its grand opening was staged during a period of prosperity, the springtime of the world. Okay, but in spite of this, they splendidly miscalculated the balance between aspirations and sophistication. Its mascot, Kitsy, was poorly designed and appeared like a cheap knockoff. Ooh, yeah. That could cause problems, I guess. At least marketing-wise. The park was stuffed to the brim with bread stands. Even its impossible to navigate mirror maze seemed out of date from the start. There are no dreams to be had at Kitsyland. Only nightmarish satire. That is a rough description. Numerous trade magazines lambasted Kitsyland's shortcomings, and customer attendance declined. There was even an incident where a 6-year-old strayed from his mother, had an accident, and nearly died. Oh! How? How? Okay. 1986, 5 years after the park opened. The situation had grown from bad to worse, and the park was hemorrhaging money. On top of everything, Yurihiko, who had bet everything on the success of mascot Kitsy, retired, and Kitsyland's operations were officially in trouble. And thus, amidst the scorn of nearly all residents of the area, ended Misaki City's one and only amusement park. Ooh, what's more, perhaps best described as a footnote to this debacle, the self-proclaimed Parisian artist who designed the mascot, Toki Ulich, was said to have snapped his brush in mourning over the closure of the park. Okay. Returning to the present. Which... What was the point of that backstory? Like, I'll be honest, I could have gone the game without knowing why that park was there and why it was closed. But, okay. It was midnight, and the Kitsy Land of today was a shadow of its former glory. Like a doll abandoned in the corner of a toy box, the lonely park was illuminated only by the light of the town that continued to live around it. I'm sorry, how... what? He had a guidebook. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Soujuro closed the Yashirogi guidebook that he had picked up on the way here. I guess after Aoko mentioned it was closed, you got curious? I guess. The story of its history was almost difficult to believe, but he supposed this was what people referred to as entropy. Yeah, I guess. The park's front gate was unlocked. When he worked here the previous time, the iron fence was locked shut with a rusty chain, but the chain was nowhere to be seen and the gate left ajar. So that's what she meant by the House of Mirrors when she's talking about her plan to kill him. To Alice. She literally meant the House of Mirrors, like in the amusement park. That makes a lot more sense now. Following the map drawn in the letter, Soujuro quickly made his way inside. Murder. That's just being straight up, it's murder. Specifically your murder. Soujuro complained. Quite out of character for him. Yeah, I mean... It was probably because, in spite of his naivety, even he knew that something was amiss. That's good. That's good. Though the park was abandoned, this was still trespassing. Unlawful entry, larceny, burglary. These were certainly not things, or perhaps crimes, that Soujuro was proud to do, but... You know, he's too respectful. He's a little bit too respectful. But, you know, I dig it, I guess. Money. The real reason his conscience was gnawing at him. He clapped his hands in apology toward the statue of Kitsy, on whose eyes the paint had begun to aptly dissolve. I don't know. It's like the upper half of its head's kind of too dark to really make out features, but I don't know, it looks cute. It kind of reminds me of Hamtaro a little bit. Anyone else see that? Think the design? I don't know. Oh no, what's that one like panda Pokemon? Not the like old one from like Johto, but like it was like a newer one. I think it was from like Gen 5. I don't know. Clubs, yeah, okay. Soujuro passed the mascot, bleeding red paint from his eye sockets, and began to walk the night park. That imagery. Just bleeding from his eyes. The building's colors had faded. The collection of machines was rusted. The man-made residents no longer felt the passage of time. Even the ghosts themselves could not endure the disparity between this forsaken place and its previous grand stature. It was like a fossilized dream. These were the ruins of a paradise, both created and abandoned by man and reality. The economy had stabilized, and the standard of living was on the rise. Nobody was overly concerned with the future. These were the remains of a wild and exciting era. Okay. His breath turning to white wisps before him, Soujuro continued to the abandoned amusement park. though void of human presence, this was not nearly as frightening as the darkness deep in the mountains. Good, I guess? I guess it's good. City suburbs can take many different forms, but Kitsyland was unusual for an amusement park in so much as it had been built adjacent to a residential district. Yeah, if the residential district was there when this place was built, I could see why people were kind of pissed. Like all the lights and sounds going off from the amusement park, right? Like maybe less than 200 meters away from like houses. Or at least the front gate, like 200 meters away. Obviously, like rides would be further than that, but yeah, you know what I mean. The park's surrounded by a forest, but even that ultimately was man-made. It was no different from the curtains on a classroom window. If you were to scale the iron fence encircling Kitsyland and break through the 20 yards of forested trees, he could make it back to the familiar townscape. Though the amusement park tended to arouse dread in the city folk, to SOUJYUROU it was little different from the commotion and terror of downtown. Okay. Yep, that's it. The central plaza was as silent as a grave. According to the map, the meeting spot was west of here. Waiting for SOUJYUROU at his destination was a rugged, imposing, magnificent castle towering before the backdrop of the cloudy night sky. Even for an abandoned park, it was a remarkable structure. Yeah. I suppose. If the roller coasters and the Ferris wheel were loud, intense attractions, this was in comparison quiet and easygoing. It was one of Kitsyland's 3 iconic structures, and in a way, the wicked fortress that guided this paradise down the path of closure. What, did people get lost in there or something? Like, why would the... Okay. Generally speaking, amusement park mazes generally fell into one of 2 categories. Labyrinth, which disorients its visitors with its sheer size, and a house of mirrors, which disorients visitors with optical illusions. Let me guess, it's both? It's both a labyrinth and it has the mirrors to disorient people? That would be, horrifying. Many of the labyrinth's guests enjoyed the brief sense of adventure that it afforded. Over the years, however, it would be usurped by the ever-increasing thrills of new attractions, such as the way of old trends, the curse of fads. Yeah, the new must give way to the newer. On the other hand, the House of Mirrors was a time-honored, beloved staple. Even within the confines of the classroom's dimensions, well-placed mirrors and well-directed light could both perplex and delight its visitors. I've never been in like a lab. Well, when I lived in Alaska as a kid growing up, like there was a like annual like hay maze event where like there'd be like a barn, right? I think it'd be around Halloween time. I think they would do it like the day. When did they do it? I think it was the day before Halloween. They usually did it. And there's like a big barn, right? And like hay would be like stacked and positioned in such ways for like chicken, like fencing, like used to like hold up. So it was like roofs of hay, and like you'd have to like find your way through. That was always fun. It was the same every year though. So after like 5 years, it got kind of old. At least I remember it being the same every time. Maybe I could be wrong, but I remember it being the same. But I don't know if that would count as a labyrinth or if it'd be its own thing or what. But like in terms of like amusement park, labyrinths or House of Mirrors, I've never been in either. Yeah. I just figured I'd throw that out there randomly. And figuring in the cost of maintenance, a well-designed house of mirrors could far outlive its labyrinth brethren. Okay. Even if both types faded into obscurity, they would remain a staple of what constituted an amusement park. However, that didn't mean that combining them would produce double the fun. I was right, okay. Together, they transformed from entertainment into an uncanny realm from which those who dared to step within could never leave. Oh. That's horrifying. In a similar sense, Kitsy's Mystery Tour Castle was the park's very own otherworld. Indeed, 5% of visitors ended up requesting staff assistance to get out. Only 5%! That's better than I thought. I thought it'd be closer to like 20. Modeled after European castles, it was greater than a football field in length, and the interior was further split into 3 floors. 2 floors above ground and 1 below, lined with mirrors from top to bottom, equal parts complex and vast. The maze demanded at least 30 minutes, even from veterans. Sounds cool, I guess, and horrifying. Cool and horrifying. 1 visit was all it took to be struck by catoptrophobia? I'm guessing that's like fear of your own reflection, but I'm gonna look it up. Hang on. Catoptrophobia. Catoptrophobia is an extreme and okay, no, it's mirrors. An extreme and overwhelming fear of mirrors is also relatively unknown phobia and fear diagnosis in the UK. Interesting. I never knew the name for the fear of the mirrors, but I guess I do now. To be struck by catoptrophobia for hours. It was this labyrinth that now stood in SOUJYUROU's way. Yeah, lucky that there's still electricity running to this place, right? Yeah, lucky. It seemed that SOUJYUROU, unaware of what a house of mirrors even was, concerned himself only with its lighting. Why not? He checked the letter from Aoko once more. You know, I would just leave, to be honest. The letter read, "I'll be waiting in the first floor lobby of the House of Mirrors." That meeting place was definitely in here. There was something to see by at least, as he could just make out light. Or, wait, what? Wait, what? So you could just make out... Oh, okay, I see. There's something to see by at least, as he could just make out light faintly through the open doors. Putting aside his suspicions, he headed toward the entrance. The sound of his steps against the brick-laid path echoed faintly. He was far from the hustle and bustle of the city. The park's clocks no longer made tick nor talk, and the winter's bite no longer blew in the night. Was that supposed to rhyme on purpose, or was that like coincidence? From within the silence, the stillness that would cause any onlooker to hold their breath. SOUJYUROU stopped abruptly at the entrance to the House of Mirrors.
ところで青崎、そんなところで何してるんだ?
What, was she hiding in a corner? And he wasn't supposed to notice her? Or what? He called out, turning back toward the plaza. She was hiding behind a trash can? A sound rang out as if someone had dove behind a garbage can and it fell to the ground in their haste. Yeah, this isn't going how she thought it would, huh? A short silence ensued. For a moment, The abandoned park returned to its previous hush. Resigned to her having been exposed, the girl appeared from her hiding place.
Oh,
Nice outfit. I dig it. I don't know why she chose to wear such a nice dress, and well, I guess you'd still call it a dress even though you're wearing like stockings and shirt under it. Just I don't know, I dig the style. His voice died in his throat as he took in the sight of the girl's familiar face and unfamiliar attire. This Aoko, with her long hair flowing in the breeze, was different from the Aoko that SOUJYUROU knew. She's dangerous, huh? The resolute stance and posture she took exuded the strength of her will. She stared directly at him with a sharp-eyed, piercing gaze. Her eyes were glowing with a dim, phosphoric light, enough to give SOUJYUROU pause that he might be hallucinating. Nope, not a hallucination. At least I hope not. Or, actually, I hope it is, but we'll see. An icy coldness in the girl's strength. SOUJYUROU lacked a sense of danger, but the sense of imbalance caused even him to feel the malice in the air. Yeah. It was as though the Yuki-onna spirit of folklore had climbed out from a ghost story and appeared here in reality. Yuki-onna is the ice spirit, right? Or something like the... Because Yuki is winter. If I recall correctly. Is it winter or snow? I think it's winter. I think it's supposed to be like winter spirit. No, winter... I don't know. I could just look it up. I literally have a search engine right next to my... Right next to me. Yuki... Oh, nah. Snow woman. Okay, it's snow, not winter. Snow woman. Oh yeah, no, Onna is woman. What? How did I forget that? No.
Aozaki.
Instinctively, SOUJYUROU took a step back. Surprised, he was starting to feel concerned. Yeah, that's probably a good instinct. An unpleasant premonition rose to the surface, bringing with it a sense of anxiety. In spite of this, he felt obliged to honor urban etiquette by seeing if she was alright. Ah, you poor boy. You dense boy.
その顔を見るに何かあったのかと一応聞いておくんだけど。
Yeah? Yeah, bruh. SOUJYUROU, you know... Buddy. I don't even know what to say. He's just too dense. Like he knows something's wrong, but he doesn't... Yeah, I guess I'll give that to him. He knows something's wrong, at the very least. He doesn't know what, or who, or why, but he at least gets that. That's maybe more than I should expect, I guess. Without acknowledging him, Aoko took a step forward. Her figure, this atmosphere, SOUJYUROU found himself recalling a recent memory. His twisted and knotted apprehension melted away and was replaced with a growing realization. The girl before him was very similar to someone he had seen before, that night in the park, though he had only seen her from behind. With increasing certainty causing him to swallow nervously, he noted that they might as well have been identical.
何をしていたかって話なら見ての通りよ。
Yeah.
ここで獲物が通り過ぎるのを待ってたの。あなたが入ってから私も入って逃げ道をなくすつもりだったから。
Alco said, perturbed by the swift change in plans. Well, maybe you shouldn't have been out in the open, huh? Because it says you dove behind the trash cans. Should have been behind there from the get-go.
そうか。待ち合わせ場所は合ってたんだな。
That's what you're taking from that. Really, that's what you're Okay, yeah, you're at the right place. Yep. Soujuro was mildly relieved he had not gotten the wrong place. It was unclear whether he felt confident about dealing with what was to come, or if he had simply failed to grasp the hopelessness of the situation. Yeah. Alco ignored his obtuse response and continued.
私はね、しずきくん。
Yeah.
嫌いな人とか憎い人とかは人並みにいるんだ。
Okay.
ただ、ちょっと変なのが敵になるやつの条件でね。
But in this case, they are? Or he is? Cold emotion burned in her eyes. Her feet had already moved one step closer to Soujuro. Soujuro's sense of foreboding was growing stronger. Wondering if what he sensed was bloodlust, he retreated another step. Continuing as so, they maintained a distance of 15 feet. Is she trying to back him into the House of Mirrors, or...?
昔から私は嫌いな相手でも敵と思ったことはなかったの。
Until now.
でも逆に好きな相手を敵だと思うこともあった。
Okay.
理由は単純。
She held her right arm out. The light about her was no illusion.
当たり前のことだけど。私は私の感情を乱すやつが敵なのよ。
Okay. So if you so you think liking someone's throwing you out of whack? And so that's why you have enemies who... Okay, her arm moved again. What? It was instantaneous. But he... Now, did she miss on purpose, or... Again, I've mentioned before, like, because of the PlayStation Start screen for this game, I know he doesn't die this early, so... Oh, okay. Something shot past Soujuro in the blink of an eye, missing him by just a foot to his left. What are you haying about? Before his eyes, a blue light, something akin to a fireball, had ignited from nothing. He finally understood what was happening.
ちょっと待った。今のは大変見覚えがある。
Yeah? She ignored his dim-witted reaction.
外したか。
Yeah, missed. Not subconsciously aiming to the side, right? Yeah, of course. Alco muttered to herself. The fist-sized hole the blue light had made in the House of Mirrors crackled and smoldered. A shot like that could easily cave in a human skull in addition to burning it to a crisp. Oh, hey, that's lovely. Good for you.
こんな射程で外すなんてアリスに見られたら自殺者ね。でもこれで分かったでしょ。2度目だものね、あなたにとっては。
Are you sure about that? Soujuro backed away swiftly. Things were beyond incomprehensible. He was close to losing the ability to think at all. All he could make out was the figure of the dependable student council president, or at least what he had thought was the president, and the memories of the park that night 2 days ago. He had never experienced anything like this, though most people living in a civilized country would have never seen anything like it either. A lethal weapon that could kill with nothing more than the pull of a finger had a way of suspending the ability of its target to determine between not just good and evil, but dreams and reality, past and future. And the more peaceful someone's life had been, the stronger that suspension was likely to be. All that one could think about was the fact that they were alive at that very moment. It was as if he was an unwritten character on a blank piece of white paper. There was no before, there was no after, there was only what came next. This was a very common thought process for anyone staring down the barrel of a gun.
あ、命乞いはやめてね。意味ないから。
Good to know.
でも恨み事ならご自由に。殺す側の義務として一言一句聞いてあげる。
I feel like he's gonna try and talk her out of it, right? Like, no, you're not a killer. What do you mean? By saying it was pointless, she made it sound more like she would not listen to what he had to say. However, Soujuro was in such a state of shock that it didn't even enter his mind to speak up. All he knew, for reasons unknown, was that the girl in front of him wanted him dead.
嘘つきにも程がある。
Oh my god. Does he...
飛び丸のバカ。何がそんな生き物はいないだ。実際いるじゃないか、こんなお化けみたいなのが。
Okay. Never mind. I had a completely different thought about where that was going. But yeah. I guess in this instance, Tobimaru does look like an idiot. Soujuro felt that if he had said that out loud, the second blast would come even quicker than the last. So he kept it to himself. Yeah, that's probably for the best. His mental expletives stirred his mind from paralysis to mere panic. This response came not from confidence, however. Someday, out of the blue, someone's going to kill me. Yeah. Well, it may have seemed like a baseless belief to hold.
でもそうだった。都会には殺人事件がある。
Okay, you know what? You're not wrong.
ルールを破れば殺されるのは当たり前だってちゃんと教えてもらってた。
I mean, the only rule you broke was when you didn't even know you were breaking, and that's... Heck, I mean, you didn't even break a rule. It's technically her upholding a rule of... whatever. Of her, like, upholding rules of, like, magic. I don't know. To Soujuro, the situation seemed to perfectly align with his inexperienced understanding that the city was a coldly pragmatic place. Yeah, I guess. As far as he was concerned in this moment, being killed by a classmate was not something to be so surprised by. How Soujuro, buddy. In a society where murder was possible, he was able to accept this sort of situation as natural. Of virtually no concern was the series of events that led to Aoko's aggression towards him. Right. The only thing that truly confused him was Aoko's blue fireball. Soujuro swallowed with an audible gulp. To anyone who may have been watching, it was the response of a victim paralyzed by fear.
そういうことよ。ようやく理解してくれたわね。
I guess.
多くは語らないけど、あなたにはここで死んでもらう。魔術は隠匿するものなんて言っても、そっちには関係のないことだし、単に運がなかったって思えばいいわ。大事なのは私があなたを殺したってことだけだから。
Okay. Thanks for at least, you know, facing us head on and not shooting us in the back. I guess that's something to be praised for, I suppose. Ooh. Done talking. Aoko once again lifted her right arm. That's a nice shot, I like that. There was a hum like a machine. Blue light began to revolve about her arm beneath her sleeve. This was taking longer than last time, leading SOUJYUROU to believe that it was going to be much stronger than the attack that was still scorching the wall behind him. The realization caused his panic to heighten.
いやなんだ、つまり始末するとかしないとか、あの夜のお化けは青崎だったとか、都会は本当に込み入ってるとか、そういうことじゃなくて。
Wait, or even whether she's a part of the... Wait, what? What? Why is he thinking about the... I guess because she had history with the church before, but why would he feel that's relevant here? Huh. His thoughts became jumbled. His heart pounded like a hammer. This was no time to be standing still. He wasn't sure if the girl in front of him was really human. And more importantly, even if he could accept the events unfolding before him when all was said and done.
待て、人殺しはいけないんだぞ。
Bro! I mean, he makes a good point. I can't, that is flawless logic. I can't argue with that. But like, bro, do you think she cares? Oh my god. SOUJYUROU, buddy, you're funny. Even if it was a fact of life in the city, SOUJYUROU was not about to lie down and die. Yeah, she was like, really? Really? Bruh. SOUJYUROU's scream, still entirely oblivious, was just the thing to invoke Aoko's full wrath. Oh, rapid fire, huh? Aoko fired a barrage of blue magical bullets. In an instant, SOUJYUROU dashed into the shadows behind him, into the entrance to the House of Mirrors. Murder balls of death. He darted feverishly down the hall. After a mere few feet, he was left completely out of breath. This was due to his shock at seeing yet another attack, fiercer than the first, that he'd never seen in his life, and because he couldn't shake the thought that if he had moved even a second later, he'd be dead. That's about right. He couldn't afford to stop. The sound of merciless footsteps closed in behind him. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It doesn't hurt to try. He threw everything into his legs as he sprinted. A straight, narrow passage about 60 feet long connected the entrance to the main lobby. At this rate, if he could just make it to the lobby, he was sure he would be able to find as many hiding spots as he needed. He arrived in a large open space. This was the first floor of the lobby. There were 3 passageways. One led to the basement floor, one connected to the first floor maze, the other was a set of stairs leading to the second floor. SOUJYUROU did not particularly care which one he chose, so trusting his intuition, he made a run for the first floor maze when... Mirror. Yeah, I suppose it's... Yeah, it is a house of mirrors. He smacked his head into a transparent wall.
鏡
Yeah.
ええ、面倒だけどそれならフェアでしょ。追いかける方にも逃げる方にも有利不利がある。
Well, you have, you know, magic bullets to shoot at him, whereas he kind of, if he even wanted to do anything to fight back, he would have to run at you. So, and you'd probably blow him apart if he tried. So, you know, I wouldn't really call it equal ground. I guess in terms of the chase, yeah, but actually no, even then you can shoot him in the back. So it's like. A somehow cheerful voice echoed in his direction. There was no need for SOUJYUROU to even turn around. Oh, I almost didn't notice her in the corner. I was like, why did it shift like that? And then I saw the like little tiny blob of red. I was like, oh, oh, hello. In the very same mirror he had crashed into, he could see Aoko Awazaki's figure slowly approaching.
それと1階の奥にある出口は封鎖しといたから。結界じゃなくて物理的に。
You think he knows what a bounded field is?
やりすぎて封鎖っていうより瓦礫？土砂崩れ？どっちでもいっか。とにかく下手に出口に近づくと崩落に巻き込まれるから。生き埋めが嫌なら近寄らないことね。
Thanks for the warning, I guess. Panicked by the impending footsteps, SOUJYUROU groped for the wall. He could see the stairs to the second floor. He didn't understand what Aoko had meant earlier, but he at least knew that the first floor was not going to save him.
ま、私としてはそっちのが助かるけど。
Yeah, you know, I guess it would.
形式上、事故死の方が後始末とか楽だから。
Right, accidental when you chased him there. Yeah, completely accidental. Not intentional at all. Behind him was a creature beyond words. As she continued her idle taunting, she lifted her right arm ostentatiously. Even from above her clothes, one could see some kind of strange, incongruous pattern upon her body. Okay, so she does have the family crest, I think. The veins beneath her skin, they made it seem as though something inhuman was circulating her body. Whether out of pity or repulsion, SOUJYUROU stopped for just a moment. His pursuer evaded his gaze.
ああ、これ？普段は塗り薬で隠しているんだけど、今日は特別。
Okay. Lucky
魔
us.
術刻印って言ってね、魔術師の証みたいなものよ。ほら、光が回ってるでしょ？これがさっきのスナップ。わかりやすく言うと弾丸の元。
So, because he's gonna die, just airing it all out? That's generous of you, I guess.
今日は調子いいし、私魔力を効率よく使うのだけは自信あるし。うん。あと30回ぐらいかな。
So what you're
さっきみたいな装着ができるのは。
So what you're saying is we just have to dodge 30 more times. Perhaps she was on an emotional high, for her voice had become frightfully friendly. Yeah. The substance of the conversation could not have been any more unsettling, however.
そもそも 何を言っているかよくわからないんだけど、青崎。
Yeah, fair enough.
わからない？弾数はあと30発ってこと。
No, I think he means the magic bit. But, you know.
そこまで逃げ切ればあなたの勝ちよ。とりあえず、今日のところはね。
What would be stopping him from telling people you were trying to kill him? I guess no one would believe him, huh?
今日はって明日もあるのかな。
Yeah, it's gonna be a ongoing game of cat and mouse, I guess. SOUJYUROU knit his eyebrows. Aoko's expressions creased into a scowl at his behavior. Although he was panicking, it seemed that deep down, he still didn't feel the full weight of the crisis. She knew he still didn't get it.
宣言はしたわ。自由時間はこれでおしまい。まだ罵り足りないだろうけど、ま、その手の時間はキリがないしね。この辺りで諦めて。
Nah, I'd rather not. It appeared Aoko had prepared this theatrical dialogue ahead of time. By the way, there haven't been any choices so far, right? Like, do you make any choices in this game, or is it just purely a, like, story experience? Huh. Not to allow her opponent time for futile pleading, but to give him the time to curse her, his killer. Such forthrightness was her modus operandi. Or operandi, yeah. With this victim, however, it wasn't going as she had hoped.
とにかくそういうことだから。じゃ、狩りの時間と行きましょうか。
How about we don't? How about we just, you know, have a cup of tea and talk about it? Her voice was void of emotion, and her eyes, ruthless as they bored into her prey. This time, SOUJYUROU finally accepted that he was going to die. Okay? But he doesn't, right? Like, he doesn't die? Right? Right? Silent as the dead, it stepped into the remnants of a dream that had long since seen no visitors. There was no wind this night, nor soul to be seen. Still, it heard the echoes from within, clasped its hands together and grinned. Oh, is the thing that's been intruding gonna interrupt her trying to kill SOUJYUROU? Maybe? Its form, with hands clasped, resembled that of a budding tulip. The bearing of this artificial flower reflected in the cloudy mirror of the ticket attendant's office next to the gate. Next to it stood a display board, corroded by years upon years of rust. Number of visitors today? 2. Number of today. The board had graffiti crudely scrawled atop one of the words. It was replaced with deaths. Oh. Okay. The records board had long ago fallen into disrepair. After taking a full 10 seconds to digest what it was looking at, it made its own revision. Number of visitors today, 3. Number of deaths today, 1. Okay. Cool. Am I crazy, or is that wait, y'all see that? At the bottom, right, like, in between the 2 and the 1, right, is that like an eye shining, and is that like hair? Am I crazy? After appending this number with an index finger, she smiled like a flower. Cool. Then she began to walk toward the source of the sound. Oh, that was... I didn't even notice the thing on the right until it moved. Okay. It had been 10 minutes since this rhapsody had begun to echo from the House of Mirrors. The amusement park's entrance returned to as it was before, soulless.